Entitled parents. Even if we love our parents, we've had some annoying ones. This is one of my favorite subreddits. Entitled parent ruins wedding. First time posting here. Fair warning, I'm jet lagged and on my cell, so I'm sorry if the writing is not up to par. But I am livid at this super entitled parent that didn't care about ruining a major life moment for almost 90 people. So yesterday, our dear friends got married in the most epic and intimate ceremony. They did allow children at this wedding, however the plan was to have the kids in the balcony space, so that if someone needed to take a child out, they could. I later confirmed this fact with the bride. Our group get up to the ceremony and we're seated. We look around and notice we're surrounded in all sides by children under the age of 9. We're all child-free by choice, so we were giving each other a little side-eye, but honestly, most of the kids were really good, and the parents were able to non-verbally communicate to them when they needed to shush. And they got it. The ceremony starts, and it seemed like all was going to be fine. The groom/bridal party walk in, and we were all preparing for the bride when this kid behind us starts loudly whining to his mum to give him his cars. I want my cars! I want my cars! He was so demanding, and instead of parenting him, she starts shuffling through her bag for his toys. Distracting, but whatever, maybe the car will shut him up. The bride walks in and the ceremony starts. It was a beautiful mix of religious traditions and creative additions of things that were meaningful. The entire time, this kid is making loud noises and slamming his toys around. I had to cut my ear with my hand to hear the ceremony, and many others were turning around to look and see what the noise was about. Even the bridal party was looking around, which you'd think the mother would notice and get the memo to take a kid out. But no, he gets louder and louder, screaming about his cars or whatever. His mum does nothing. Finally, during the point in the ceremony where the mother of the bride was trying to recite a blessing, a member of our party turned around and told the mum her child was being very disruptive and asked her to take him out, which I was grateful for. She huffed and puffed her way out finally, and we think this is over. Wrong. At the reception, this entitled mother stomps up to me. I was in the middle of an important catch-up convo. She demands to know who I am and who my friends were sitting next to me. I told her we're close friends of the bride and groom. She then demands to know our names. I told her, whatever, but then she marches around looking for my friend to ask her to leave, and when she found him, he starts screaming, "I hate you!" at him, telling all within earshot that she can't believe the bride and groom would be friends with such terrible people. I walked over and asked her what her real issue was, and she said it was my friend's tone. I told her that it was very disappointing we missed the blessing because of her disruptive child. She's pointing her finger, waving her palms in my face, saying how it's her right to have her son there with her. Because of all the commotion, a friend of her comes up to see what's going on. The entitled mother goes on about how he attacked her, and her friend then actually says out loud, "Oh, I left my kid at home," with a chuckle. Then the entitled mother comes back at me with her sass hands and demands to know if I have kids. To which I chuckled and said no, thinking in my head so I can avoid things like this. She then flicked her hand in my face and stomped away. This woman had no business having her child in the main ceremony room. She refused to honor the request to keep the children in the balcony, but also had no parental control, like the other people with kids. Like whatever, I'm just a friend, but I know the bridal party was having a hard time trying to concentrate during the ceremony due to this child. The audacity of this parent will forever be seared into the memory of this destination wedding for us. I mean, wow, this woman was top tier entitled. Honestly, like, I've been to like movies and people will bring their kids and they'll be screaming and they won't even tell them to be quiet. I know it's stressful having kids, but take them outside. My high school dropout daughter needs a job now. I've been a bit on this subreddit and remembered a good story about an entitled mother and her high school dropout daughter who is just as entitled as her mother. A little info. I live in Belgium and have an internship and an interim office. If you don't know what that is, it's basically an office that specializes in finding jobs for other people. It's a really fun and rewarding job, but it has its downsides. If you drop out of high school in Belgium, it's really hard to find a job since almost no company wants to hire you. Only fast food places, retail stores, and production companies. Now let's get to the story. This all happened in the month January, which is a very busy month for us, and we had a lot of people and companies to call. I was working on a list of people who were quitting/fired, meaning I had to call them and ask the reason for them leaving the company when this lady and her daughter walked in. I greeted them with a smile and asked what I can do for them. My daughter is looking for a job. Okay, ma'am, do you have an appointment? No. Sorry, but you will have to wait a little bit. None of my colleagues are available at the moment. I'm almost done with my task and then I'll help you right away. Can't you help us now? I'm sure your task can wait a bit longer. Sorry, ma'am. You don't have an appointment with us, and that means you don't have priority, and my task is very important, and it needs to be completed as soon as possible. Fine. She was obviously not happy with my response, but she sat down and gave me a glare. I just sat down and continued my work. After maybe 10 to 15 minutes, I was done with my task and invited her to sit at my desk. She quickly came over and sat down, and I could see by the way how she walked that she was very pissed. Her daughter took a seat next to her, and I started with filling in the standard information: name, age, address, etc. After that, I started with more specific questions. So, what kind of job are you looking for? I want to work as a kindergarten teacher. That's a bit difficult to find. I don't think we have any at the moment, but we do have some applications for a daycare. Would you be interested in that? Sure. Great. Before you can apply for that, I need a copy of your second grade diploma so I can add it to your profile. Otherwise, you won't be able to apply for this job. Oh, I don't have a second grade diploma. I'm sorry, you can't apply for this job then. May I suggest you apply for a job in retail or fast food? We have a lot of those at the moment. At this point, the entitled mother is at her boiling point. She puffs up and starts to go on a rant. My daughter is not going to work at a dirty fast food joint. She's way too smart and pretty for that. She wants to work at a daycare. I'm sorry, ma'am, but your daughter needs a secondary diploma for that. If she doesn't have one, I'm not allowed to give her that job. She's smart enough for that job, so she doesn't need a diploma. Just give it to her. I can't give the job to her, ma'am. She needs a secondary diploma by law. If I give her that job, it can cost me my internship and give the company legal trouble, and I can't afford to do that. She pulls up her nose and gives me a glare of pure disgust. Of course it had to be an intern helping us. You don't know anything. Can we see someone who actually works here? All my colleagues are currently busy, so I can't disturb them. No, you are lying. They're probably in the break room. Go get them. At this point, I'm getting sick and tired of this lady being an all-around idiot. I calmly get out of my seat and point to the door. Ma'am, could you please leave? You're being very hostile towards me. No? How dare you even speak to me like that? I'm not leaving until you get someone who knows what they are doing or my daughter gets a job in daycare. The last time, ma'am, I'm not giving her a job in daycare. She doesn't have a diploma. If I knew one of the employees in a daycare doesn't have a diploma, I wouldn't send my kid there. Now I'm asking you one more time to leave, or I will call security. Me mentioning security scared her, so she gathered her things and started walking towards the door, but not before giving me a death glare. I'm gonna make sure you lose this internship. Mark my words. I later heard that they went to a different office where the girl applied for a job in a fast food joint. Suits him, right? My mum feels entitled to my inheritance money. She wants to use it to put down a payment on a house. I only found out about it 6 years later because I looked into a cabinet in our house and did some research. I, 24 female, found out earlier this year that I was supposed to receive around $160,000 in inheritance money when my father passed away. I found out by looking into a cabinet in our house. I was compelled to do so because my mother acts rich or poor whenever it suits her, plus other strange behavior. I found a letter that was addressed specifically to me from the life insurance company that had my inheritance. All I needed to do was submit some paperwork and they'd give me a check. I'm not sure how, but my mother somehow submitted documents for me and even cashed the check that was in my name. I am also not sure why she felt entitled to it when she got $500K in inheritance herself. When I confronted her about it, she obviously did not take it well. She was very adamant that it's her money until I informed her that after I found the documents, I called the life insurance company and received photocopies of the check, the submitted documents, etc. After I told her that, she tried negotiating with me, stating that she can give me $10,000 to start with and then $2,000 every month. I said no. I said she would guilt me into delaying her payments if we go that route. She tells me she'll be homeless if I get all the money at once. I eventually make her show me her bank statements. As far as I know, she has about $330,000. In addition, she's been making 6 figures with her job for the past 3 years. Homeless my ass. I told her I need a good amount of money if I want to have any chance of moving out. I wanted to move out with my friend, but my mum took way too long to give me any money. I received $50,000 from her, like a week or so later. She started asking if she could borrow $20,000 for a month. She said she needs it in a bank account so that the lender can approve of the condo or house she wants to buy. She asked if I would be okay, and I stupidly told her that I'd be getting grants from school too. She then wanted to borrow $20,000 on top of the grant money by passive-aggressively mentioning it whenever she could. A few weeks later, she forced me to go with her to the bank to withdraw $20,000. This was on October 3rd. On November 23rd, I asked her to give me $2,000. I told her it's almost been 2 months and I want a portion of it back, via text. She gives me this silent treatment, in text and in person, and the next day I try calling her. She starts crying hysterically, saying, I knew I shouldn't have trusted you with money. What are you doing? Drugs? Are you gambling? Why are you so mean? You ruined my holiday. You ruined my life. You're abnormal. You're just doing this because you're behind in your life and you're desperate. You don't have utilities to pay for. I spent so much money on food the past month. I'm not exaggerating when I say I've never told her to buy me food or make me food, but she always uses it as a form of guilt. A couple of days later, we have a 4-hour argument. During this argument, I was so disgusted with her behavior that I told her I want nothing to do with her. A couple of days after that, to my surprise, she comes into my room and asks me to hug her. She starts crying and says that she just suppresses her thoughts and feelings. She says she'll give me $500 now and then $500 on December 22nd. What the hell? I swallowed my anger for a couple of days, but then I could no longer hold it in. I wasn't giving her this silent treatment, but I wasn't looking at her or initiating any form of talking. She noticed this and starts asking what's wrong. She goes, "It's the money, isn't it?" And then repeats the same things that she did last time. "Are you gambling? You have no utilities, etc." And again, she made it very clear that she wants to buy a condo or a house. I just can't remember which. I told her I'm mad at her because you told me you needed $20,000 for a month. It's been over 2 months and now you're still not giving it, so you lied. After this, she started acting like she was about to cry, and then she left the house. She then transferred another $500. I haven't talked to her since. It infuriates me to think that she's entitled to this money. Why do you need a house? You're getting old and you're single. Secondly, not only was this money only in your account in the first place because you committed fraud, but now I let you borrow money and you're going to treat it like it's allowance? It's my money, legally. Get over it. You already got $500,000 before you took my money. Since I was 18, I've been working minimum wage jobs. She's made it so clear as day that she thinks her needs are way above mine. I don't have utilities, I don't have a career yet, so I'm less important, even if that's factually true. I'm your child and that money is legally mine. I'm so sorry, man. Your mother sounds like a nightmare. I can't believe she had over $660,000 and still felt like she needed your money when she already had your money. This subreddit always makes me sad.